Welcome back to the Crooked Spine Show. Have you ever wondered why optometrists sometimes become your primary care doctor? Dr. Robert Rothbard of Rancho Optometry portrays this to a T. Amy, also of American Financial Network, is his spokesperson for especially dry eyes and also how she was helped with that. In this talk, we talk about Dr. Bob's focus on gamers now and how to help them with their vision, along with his new book. We also talk about how he saved a life and also to how he helps headaches. Amy also talks about how I helped her daughter with scoliosis. Realize primary care doctors sometimes can be your chiropractor, optometrist, but someone who listens to you, understands how to help you or get you the right referral. Again, the show notes always has links to each specific topic. If not, we jump in the show and we'll talk to you afterwards. All right. Welcome back to Crooked Spine Show. I'm here with Dr. Bob of Rancho Optometric Center in Rancho Cucamonga. What we're going to do is talk about his book, his new vitamins he's using to help people fix their vision, along with his years of success running an optometric center in Cucamonga. All right, so turn that thing off for me, Dr. Bob. I'm at my office today. We've had a long day of practice all day. Both of us have. Seeing a lot of people. I'm not tired, but I've had a lot of work. Okay? I'm going to have Dr. Bob start to introduce himself. I'm going to get started, so I share this to my personal page so people everywhere can see it. So go ahead, Dr. Bob.
Well, your work is a lot more physically involved than mine is. That's for darn
A
sure.
little bit. Maybe.
Oh, a heck of a lot more. You can get a workout just from doing it.
That's what I do every day.
I know you do. Anyway, I'm an optometrist. I'm in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Been celebrating my 30th anniversary in the same shopping center. I've actually been practicing for about 38 years. Graduated in 1981. Love it. And, you know, there's so much new stuff occurring with us. The newest thing is I'm now in the process of editing my book. It's called Looking Good. And the subtitles of it deal with from esports and digital screen time to macular degeneration, from binocular vision to cataracts and glaucoma, and everything in between. What I try to do here is not only show them medical end of optometry, which is really, as far as my patient's concerned, a very small part of the practice. My part's the functional. And I tell you, we're getting a lot of interest from the kids. Why? Because I mentioned esports. And the new question I've asked in the last couple of months was, are you a gamer? Now, years ago, that means you go to Vegas.
Yeah, you're rolling the dice.
Rolling dice, playing blackjack, rolling roulette, whatever. These are kids who are streaming on video, competing against each other, spending hours on end looking at a monitor.
Yep, coming in. No,
come on in, Amy. Under a stressful situation, and I am so super excited about it because the kids are super excited about it. The parents are, and there's so much involved. We, as an optometrist, have about 5 areas. Let me think. I don't have it written down in front of me, so let me think if I can think of it. 1, blue light. How much blue light is coming off of the actual computers on digital screens and even phones that are affecting individuals' eyes? And that is really involving the macula, the central part of clarity, which could also be affected over a long-term time. Heard of macular degeneration? The second thing we deal with are the vitamins that help to protect it. We're giving them to kids, chewables, and they say it's teen screen. And screen time for teens, from 4 to 17. Just a lower dosage of the same thing, zeaxanthine and lutein. Why? Because you want to build up the pigment around the macula to protect it against the high intensity of the blue light.
Exactly.
Third, we're dealing with is what is the appropriate amount of prescription, not only for distance, but actually for reading, for close-up work, to make that person much more effective. It was really interesting, Tony. I was at E3, which is one of the biggest conventions for gamers and game developers. I had this guy from RPI, which is Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which is up by Albany, New York.
Okay.
They're game developers, and I knew darn well, what you guys describing me his vision. Mm-hmm. These game developers and players. They got the whole team there. It's unbelievable. And you know they're giving scholarships There you go, Amy.
Scholarships.
Scholarships to schools for
Yes.
playing video games. You think I'm kidding?
Well,
And it's huge.
scholarships, sponsorships.
Sponsorships, unbelievable. The industry
Uh-huh.
and the kids are so excited. Their teachers are so excited. So this guy was a gamer and a developer. He had problems, I know, because a binocular problem. Why? He said he wore one contact lens in the eye. The only time he
Only
wear that, one, because the other eye was normal. The other eye was very far-sighted, which means if you wore glasses, one eye would be a lot more magnified than the other. Are
Okay.
you with me?
Yeah.
That's the basis of a lot of times called lazy eye. In other words, the individual might not have been able to see perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Sounds like Nixon, doesn't it? But you're too young to remember that.
No, I have no
Remember
idea.
perfectly clear.
Black and white TV, tube
Yeah,
TV.
yeah, whatever. And anyway, so he put it on. He's told me about this, and I put lenses in front to relax his eyes, and he was able to take the screen. Same thing that takes a person over 40 from here to here.
Yes.
Push them back, relax the eyes. What effect would that have over 6 hours of video play? Huge. Another area that's very important is we really deal with a lot. And Tony, you're a chiropractor, so
Yes, I
you
am.
would really get into vision training, getting the eyes to work together, not to aim together like this, and to focus and to get those two systems, aiming and focusing, working together. So you can train that and make a better production. And the fifth one, and my dear friend Amy over here can sympathize
Yes.
with this one, dry eye. Now, I'm not violating HIPAA by saying this, am I?
No.
If not, Tony will
No.
cut the shit out of this section.
Actual
And-
language. Facebook's gonna ban me.
Um,
Good. Never happened. Go ahead.
Okay.
Chris. Just
So anyway,
please.
sorry.
Say it.
New York, what can I tell
Oh,
you?
gosh,
Fan
here
of
we
Gary
go.
Vaynerchuk. Anyway,
Here we go.
so anyway, the dry eye, what happens is when staring at a screen for a long period of time, and a lot of these individuals are afraid to actually blink their eyes, thinking they're going to miss something. We can deal with that.
Okay.
There's 1 or 2 drops that I use, especially one, that I deal with dry eye with individuals, and it's had really, for some people, a miraculous
Yeah.
effect as far as that's concerned. What effect would that have if somebody didn't have dry eye while they're working, especially if they're wearing contact lenses?
What do they feel when they have dry eye? What does Amy feel?
I'll let Amy describe
What does
it.
Amy feel? Amy, come jump in here. Well, let me grab that.
Let me have, let me, here you go.
Yeah. This one, we have tons of room in here.
God.
This is not a cubicle. Right here.
This is absolutely excellent, Tony.
See.
Thanks so much.
See, it's a quick.
Oh,
Okay.
share that with you. Thank you.
Keys, numbness.
I tell you,
All right.
dry eye.
This is Amy Valdivia. What do you do, Amy? Just introduce yourself.
I close home loans.
Yeah, she
American
does.
Financial Network.
Tremendous
That's what I do.
individual.
So
Really is.
helping people, guiding them, advising them for 30
And she
years.
has a lot of live video. Check out her stuff. I'll put a link in my link for her link so we can all link together.
We're linked.
We're linked.
Sounds like
what
we
we
all
are.
just get along.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Should we lock arm in arm? So
Yeah,
I
dry eye.
went to Dr. Bob specifically for dry eye.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I met her at the chamber.
Yeah, that's right. And every morning, literally every morning, I would wake up and I felt as if when I opened my eyes, it was ripping my eyes. It was extremely painful, and throughout the day, it just felt like I had sand in my eye all the time.
I can't
No.
imagine what's like because I never had this.
No relief.
I have not either.
No relief at all.
Okay.
So the relief would be when I first put in any drop that I could get my hands
Yeah.
on, and I was playing with. After a while, it just got to be too many, and that was actually working against
It's like a medicine cabinet going, I'm going to go everything what I
just
can do.
try whatever
Yeah.
I can do. So that actually it worked against me, and it was just making it worse and worse and worse. Next thing you know,
And you had plugs put in your eyes too.
that's right. I did have
For the
plugs
dry eyes.
because that is one of the first
Put
things
it
they
right here,
do
Tony.
Wow.
when
The
you
black
have
one
dry
with that.
eyes. They put plugs, hoping that
The moisture
you're-
stays in.
That's right.
So what they thought the moisture was causing it to become that clogged or that sticky where it wouldn't open up at all.
What did? I'm sorry.
The clogs? The
No,
plugs? The
what
plugs?
the plugs
No,
do
the
is they
plugs.
keep the fluid in the eye instead of draining down the
got it, got
nasolacrimal
it.
duct.
Yeah.
That's the theory
Okay.
behind it.
So it leaves it in the eye to keep the eye
Yeah.
moisturized
That's right.
and things like that.
But I was not producing enough
Yeah.
moisture for the plug to even help.
Wow.
So, next thing you know it, I'm in Dr. Bob's chair, and Pazio, whatever you want
Whatever.
to call it. Whatever you want to call it.
Tomato, tomato.
Yes, this drop. I have severe allergies at that time, I was going through treatment for severe allergies, which made the dry eye even worse.
more
Because
sensitive.
when you have allergies, you actually are taking allergy medicine, which are making
Drying
your eyes
out.
drier.
Drying everything
So-
out.
He gives me this drop, and immediately, literally before I even walked out the door, completely felt like my eyes were soothed.
And we've had
It was
quite a few patients
Amazing.
like this.
Wow.
Yes. And this drop is for allergy eyes. However, one of the things that they're not marketing is the fact that it's actually soothing for dry eyes.
And
Wow.
the reason this works, Tony, are you familiar
Yeah.
with mast cells? Ever hear of them before?
My
Mast cells are
histology
throughout
class.
MAST. They're in the eyes, and what happens is
Yeah.
the other component of Pazzo, besides being an antihistamine, it's a mast cell stabilizer.
Yes.
Okay.
And mast cells are cells everywhere, but particularly in the eye. When they degranulate, break apart, they release an inordinate amount of irritants into the eye.
Right.
And destabilizes. That's why the drop a lot of times can last as long as 24 hours.
That's right.
And it has been not only with Amy, but we've had several people, quite a few people in fact. We even had the pharmacist, and good news for you, the pharmacist figured out how to get the coupons
Oh,
from
nice.
the manufacturer
Manufacturer.
because he started using it.
Wow.
I think the biggest thing for me was it was one drop.
Boom. Done.
And all of a sudden you're going, what? And when I first started, he actually said, try 2 drops and see if you can get through 2 days.
Give it a couple.
Give it a couple days, see how it works. Eventually, it was literally 1 drop a day, and that was it. And
Wow.
it just, it was a lifesaver.
And basically, what it will do is it just in my scientific end, if the mast cell is producing inflammation, it brings down the inflammation.
It brings down, well, not like a steroid would. It doesn't
Yeah,
go through
okay.
that whole channel. And steroids are a lot more, you gotta be a lot more careful with steroids
Yeah, other
when you're
side
working
effects.
with side effects, including glaucoma and cataracts.
That'd be bad.
But this is so much more natural. It keeps something from degranulating. In other words, it's not a result, you're not knocking down the inflammatory, because there isn't any inflammatory
Yeah.
process because of the fact that it's stabilizing the cells to keep them from degranulating and so forth.
So the breakdown is what's causing the irritation.
And the thing of it is
Okay.
really, in my opinion, for some people it might work, but the generics don't work
Yeah.
because the active ingredient amlodipine is in concentration on the brand name Pazzo or Pazeo,
Pazeo.
0.7%. On the generics, it's 0.1 to 0.2%. Much less dosage of
So
it.
higher concentration.
And so it's a higher concentration that actually deals with it. And also it's a very viscous, so when you see it, God, they put this stuff on the eye.
Yeah.
And so many patients, the first time they say, God, it's cooling. As opposed to some other drops, and we won't name them this time,
Burns.
burn like the
Yeah.
dickens. And
Absolutely.
some of them are immunosuppressive. And they're not even sure, why would you give, in fact, the pharmacist went up, told the patient, says, have your doctor write a prescription for so-and-so, which was an immune. I says, we're not even sure the lacrimal gland is being attacked by the
Might as
immune
well
system.
just-
And
Right.
for the and immunosuppressive is, for your folks out there, think of it as someone having a kidney transplant and then administering drugs so the body does not reject the kidney. That is basically what they're doing here. To think that the body's not hurting the lacrimal gland. They never proved the lacrimal gland was the culprit in the first place. But,
Yeah.
So I'm
it's
really
the risk to
excited.
get the benefit could
Yeah.
be worse than the benefit. So the medication you gave, is that prescribed medication?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so it has to be prescribed.
And long term,
Yeah.
one of the things
Yeah,
that
tell
I
me.
was dealing with was, or concerned about is,
Yeah.
okay, what is this going to do to me long term?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of the fact, the steroid.
Yeah.
It gives you the comfort that you get from the steroid. So
okay.
instantly I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on a steroid, and this is every day. I mean, this
Like,
can't
so
be
my immune system's going to drop,
Right.
and I have other
This
problems
can't-
going on. from
Exactly,
that. Yeah.
and long term, they're not finding any problems.
And this is not,
Nice.
even this is not prescribed by many at all. I'll tell you
Right.
that
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Well,
It
because
is
it's
not.
for allergies. I mean, that's every doctor I've talked to.
Most optometrists don't. They haven't
Right.
even heard of it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. And
How do you find it?
I found it because I dealt with the first 2 drops in, which was Padnol and Pataday. This
Okay.
was the third generation,
Right.
but much different, much more high, that's good English, much higher concentration
Yes.
of, and I just started using it,
Yeah.
and anecdotally, and it worked. It's like everything else I do. I try to do something.
Like anything humans, try it.
Yeah,
If it works
try
for you,
it.
great.
And it had worked, and I can think of many people, but when the pharmacist says he figured out how to get the coupons from there,
Yeah.
even though
Perfect.
it's not, because most of the time they'll say it's not covered on your plan. It
Right.
worked out really well.
Nice. So it makes it affordable, plus practical, plus effective.
Yeah, I can't guarantee that it would be on everybody, but
Yeah.
I talked to this one pharmacist in my area here, and the fact that he got it, used it, and it worked, and he never really dealt with it before, except
Easy.
by watching my prescriptions coming through. And
Yeah.
he's obviously a patient of mine.
Yeah.
It worked out really beautifully.
And that's the thing, you understand, you've been here long enough in business to where, okay, how do I get someone what they need, work with a pharmacist, work with people in the area, you have a good network. You don't just stay in the office every day, work 9 to 5, go home. You actually do networking in the area. People understand what you do talks, you do everything.
I tell you, Tony, I really feel blessed
Mhm.
on that. There's so much out there. You know, I'm just reading a book by a chiropractor,
Oh,
Joe Dispenza.
yep, Spencer, yep.
Yep. You Are the Placebo, and a couple of other books.
He has a lot of books out
He
there.
really, and I enjoy listening to him. And business has been really good. How I'm going to do all this stuff, I don't know, but I'm going down. So I talked about going to the E3, which was in Los
Yeah,
Angeles,
he's everywhere.
and I'm going down to San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I play any of the games, and I'm about 3 times as old as the average person going there.
You're only 45, so what the
Well,
heck?
God, even if you reduce... Oh, here's algebra for you. Reverse the numbers,
Algebra.
add 9, and figure out the age.
Yeah.
Anyway, be dyslexic. Anyway, I'm going down to TwitchCon, which is part of
Nice.
Twitch,
Yep.
and to mingle and talk with individuals on what they can actually do. Because since it is such a competitive,
Mhm.
and getting more so,
It's a gaming industry.
the whole gaming industry, it's on the stock market, and I just feel really unique. And you want to see the kids pop up. When I mentioned esports, I had to take my ticket from E3. I have it pinned on the back of my exam
Yeah.
room wall beneath the eye chart. And I go, who's up there? He says, Sonic, 3.5-year-old
Wow.
kid. And I forgot the other person. But it
It's like
was,
going to the World Series.
yeah, it
for
really
gamers.
is.
Their
Wow.
ticket.
And
Wow.
this is
Huh.
just super excited. I feel I'm the only one dealing with this in my profession to the extent that we're bringing awareness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Can we knock out any problem? The problem is there's not that many, and there's so much of a need to do this. The big thing of the 5 that I mentioned, the appropriate lens veneer, because what's been happening now is this is not being measured.
lens.
Yeah, in other words, you prescribe for distance, and most of the time the conventional thinking says you don't even have to consider the near until the person turns 40 and they start having presbyopia.
That's the conventional.
Yeah, that's
theory.
conventional.
Okay.
It's not the case. You got to see what the person's vision is. You want to see if they're the type of person that when they read, they don't read here, they want to read here. Even though they can see clearly at distance with or without prescription, if they're reading here, there's an eye problem, teaming problem, and so forth. And you can't produce it. But not only as regards to esports, I'm talking about education. I'm talking about performing in regular sports.
That's where vision training comes
Yeah,
in.
it really does. Now, just to show you, we're pretty altruistic because I don't do a lot of the training. I mean, I can.
Yeah, but
I
you
love
want to
it.
diagnose
I
it.
can diagnose and
Yeah.
send it off to a doctor who's appropriately trained.
Right.
And most importantly, as in your field and in your field, you got to make that person motivated. I've seen your videos on mortgages. Let me tell
Yeah.
you something. You're dynamite on there, Amy.
But
And-
it takes time and energy to
But the
do
time
it.
and energy,
Commitment.
but it also, this is not the kind of thing, if you can't impress them with your knowledge, baffle them with your baloney. We've got, and I would use something else too.
Yeah,
Tony,
no.
Tony's kind of
Wow.
correcting me
New
here.
Yorker.
Anyway,
Censor.
but what I'm saying is, it's important to be able to be, and I quote Gary Vaynerchuk, to be empathetic, to be self-aware, and to be filled with gratitude, and the most important thing, just be a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the reason
Or,
that...
or a woman or whoever.
Oh, God. Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
Sorry, Amy.
Trying to
I wanted to.
broadness, PC it.
But you know, because there have been
Whatever it
some.
is.
But listen to what's interesting to me about that last statement too. And Gary V brought it up. Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't want to say who the individual was. He was in a major business, relatively young 50s, and he was
Okay.
the lead person. But the way he treated his employees and associates was so negative, and he died of an ailment at a relatively young age. And you wonder whether, you know, when you're
Yeah.
upset and so forth, you know cortisol
Yep.
and all the others, because when cortisol is
Right.
produced, your anti-inflammatories are down and so forth, and you're probably more into that.
Cancer, immune
Yep.
system drops, everything. Your
Exactly.
whole body becomes
So
Right.
this is what I really
Yeah.
deal with when I'm dealing with my patients, when I'm dealing with my comrades at the
Well,
chambers,
when you
and
talk to
the
them, though,
staff.
your patients, you actually tell them, okay, and here's your eye problem, but you look at the whole person, not just their eyes.
Right, you know,
What's your lifestyle? What's
There's-
their
The whole
stress
story.
level? Everything.
there's,
Yeah.
and that's a problem because a lot of people just stop at the eyes.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate. You know, I'm looking at my niche getting bigger and bigger and bigger,
Mhm.
and the amount of doctors dealing with it, they're getting a lot into the medical end, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's a very small population compared to how many people are actually working on digitals, how many 40-year-olds are actually 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,
Yeah.
looking at screens, and they don't even have the right prescription. They have to, in your field,
Mhm.
dealing
Right.
with their neck and back problems from just having
Job
the wrong...
security, my friend.
I tell you, it is. There is so much here, and I'm just, like I said, genuinely just. I'm glad I'm doing this because every time I do one of these,
Yep.
I get so much friggin' more
Energy, my friend.
enthusiastic. It's just wonderful.
Well, tell me about your book, too. Go walk
Okay.
me through your book. I haven't seen it yet.
Amy read it, and we're going to send it.
I
I guess
did.
I'll be the last one to edit this thing. I don't know.
No, you're going to be. I actually mentioned Amy by name because she told me I could
Yes.
about her situation with the dry eye.
Mhm.
But basically, it's mostly dealing with about 34, 35, 36 patients whom I thought were interesting cases. Who I thought was, well, whatever.
Well, case.
Let me
Yeah,
interject.
Sure. You've done edits.
When I have, and I reviewed the book.
Okay.
Thank you
It-
very
it-
much.
it's on
And the
it.
first one to write me on it, too.
That's what I'm saying. I completely
Yeah.
reviewed, edited, reviewed. When it's a journey, it's
Okay.
a complete journey when you're reading this.
Okay.
You're reading about multiple patients, including myself, and you're learning about what this man does. This
Okay.
man takes care of his patients. I'm here because we've become friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, okay, tell me about your life. I happen to also have LASIK surgery and I had a corneal inlay. Well, that on top of the allergies, he's going, why would they even bother doing this to you? Because you're a perfect candidate to have the dry eye. He is finding out about your life and everything else about it, and he's getting to know his patients. So when you're reading this book, you're not just reading case studies.
Yeah.
He's saying it's a case study because that's his point of
Yeah.
view, because we're
That's
his
how we
patients.
understand it. As
We're his patients.
Yeah.
But when you're reading the book from my perspective, from the patient's perspective, it's truly a journey of getting to know who this man is
Nice.
Thank
and his practice with his patients. That's truly what it is.
Wow.
When you walk into his office, those individuals that he has working for him, I mean, they truly are loyal to this man, and they will do whatever it takes to make his practice
really
comfortable. It's very nice. Then you walk in and you're sitting with him, and he's talking to you, and he's going, oh, and he's asking you about your lifestyle, so he gets to know you, so he knows how to treat you appropriately. Because just by looking at the symptoms, we know that's why they call it practicing medicine.
Yeah.
By looking at symptoms, he could give me 15 different prescriptions,
Yeah.
but we don't know really what's wrong. And then when he's asking these questions and he's getting to know you and he's paying attention to you and really listening, it's a completely different picture.
I tell you, it was really interesting. Tony, I congratulate you with the social media. This is exceptional for me.
Sometimes fun. Okay.
I had a patient. I always love relating to the. In fact, they wanted me to throw out the New York section
Why?
of the book.
What?
It's
The
your
editor,
book, right?
Why?
the editor. I said, well, I'll put it toward the end instead of mixing it right in there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's just you, though. You're
Yeah.
learning about you, right? That's what
Right.
it is.
so
Right.
I was back there around Christmas time. I'm up in the Bronx on Arthur Avenue, Little Italy section. It's a great place to go, by the way. Anyway, I get this message on Facebook from a friend of my sister's, but I knew her quite well. and because I had put something on Facebook in my fan page, my Optometric fan page, about keratoconus, which is a progressively degenerative disease of the front surface of the eye, the cornea. And I thought she was just calling me, wish me a Merry Christmas. Well, well, bottom lining it, she says, my daughter has that condition, and I need to, her daughter was 29 or 30, I need to talk to you about it. So I did. And
Go face to face, or it's a phone conversation?
well, the conversation was there. Then I talked to her because I'm back out here in California,
Okay,
and she's in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right.
So I went over it, what she should do, what she should question, and so forth. And I actually have the Facebook. I put a picture on there. It worked out well. She went through the surgery because there's a new surgery. It used to be that the cornea would just degenerate and possibly lead to a corneal transplant.
29,
Yeah. Now they do what's called corneal cross-linking, which is basically a proprietary solution they put on the eye,
Okay.
and then they seal it with ultraviolet. It's extremely expensive, unfortunately,
Wow.
because of the fact there's only one company that's licensed to develop that.
That's why.
And also the surgical fees, but it has miraculously with her stopped the progression of keratoconus, because when you have keratoconus and the cornea distorts, first you can't wear glasses. It's just too distorted. Then you can't wear soft contacts. And then the hard contact lenses, which will restore a new front surface, but the cornea is thinning, and eventually possibly they got to do a transplant. Could very well be genetic. So we had dinner down in, we went to Coney Island, which is in Brooklyn, and we got together, and my sister.
Know that exactly where we're going.
And it's called
I want to hear I want to visualize.
Okay, so we're down at Coney Island. So I actually got a picture if you want to see it on Facebook.
No, I'm good.
We had
Right
gone
now.
Julio's. Julio's in Brooklyn, 112 years old, and it was such a great feeling. It says, here's the man who was by me in step one, guiding me through what to do.
Nice.
And she says,
Well, you need to tell the story about the lady whose life you saved.
this was good. God, I feel really good about this.
Good. Good
This lady, I have her on.
Saved your life.
You can go to my YouTube channel, which is just Robert
I'm going to connect
Rothbard.
everything, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah.
This guy's great.
Link it all.
You can keep the microphone. I'll
Oh,
find
thank
another one. Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
That's a gift.
Yeah, as a
okay.
gift for doing this stuff.
Wow.
I'm serious. Anyway, here's a lady who came in. Think about this, and there's a follow-up that's not in the book regarding, I'll tell you this in a second. I got a headache and I got blurred vision. Well, who doesn't come to the eye doctor with headaches and blurred vision?
Yeah, that's common, right?
Right.
So I looked back there and noticed the optic nerve, which is at the back of the eye, and it's blurred. It should never be blurred. Usually means there's something wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
Usually in the front part of the brain or whatever. But what happened was when we did a peripheral vision test, she had a distinct visual defect. In other words, you look straight ahead, one eye's covered, you measure little dots coming on, you click the button and see where it is. Same thing with the other eye. The defect was in the same area on the test. Can't be the eye, had to be the brain where the visual fibers crossed. Referred her out. It took a little while for her insurance company to get on the stick to refer her. She went to the ophthalmologist. I'm trying to think which one it was. Doesn't matter.
You said, but let's talk about the details. Now all of a sudden he's omitting details. We knew about the restaurant, but now all of a sudden he's omitting the details here. So we really need to know.
Yeah.
He proceeds to tell her while she's sitting in the chair,
Mm-hmm.
there's something really wrong.
Oh,
this is not
Emergency
my
type of
scope. This is
situation.
not my office. Kind of
Yeah.
a not go pick out your frame
Yeah.
problem. This is a bigger problem. You need to be seen by an ophthalmologist. You need to go. And he literally takes her down, telling her the different steps that she needs to go through in order to be treated appropriately.
Yeah.
So some doctors would say, "Oh God, I don't want to refer somebody out because that's my business." But this is the type
That
of
to me
practice
is
that
the most.
you get.
That, and it is true. I'm not saying you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that kind of
Stuff.
stuff.
Well, a lot of doctors don't want to say, I don't know.
Well, anyway,
It's a form word.
I think most people might deal with this. In all fairness, Tony.
Yeah.
But anyway, she followed through. The ophthalmologist saw how they did a CT scan and probably an MRI and saw a half an inch aneurysm.
Yeah.
They immediately scheduled surgery. It ruptured on the operating table, lost the vision in that eye, saved her life, and they said she would have died if it wasn't there, but that being ruptured. And so in 2 weeks it would have ruptured.
Wow.
Did she regain vision back?
Lost in one, the other eye was perfect.
Okay.
Except for maybe needing glasses.
So for the remainder of her life, she's lost vision.
Yeah, there's no vision.
There's
in
no
that.
way to recover
But that
that.
visual field defect that was in the good
Yeah, the
eye,
initial-
no longer there.
Nice.
And what the follow-up to that, which
What does an aneurysm cause if it bursts without being
what's that?
taken care of? An aneurysm, when it bursts, what happens?
You can die because
Yeah.
especially in the brain,
Right.
Yeah.
or severe paralysis
Stroke,
or
things like that.
total incapacitation. Another friend of ours, whom you know, but I don't want to mention his name, his secretary complained of headaches. And he goes, go see Dr. Bob.
Mm-hmm.
She never did. And it was an aneurysm and it ruptured. She's in critical condition. I don't even know if she's 50. She's in her 50s, I believe.
Yeah.
So this lady, by the way, was only about 46 or 47 years of age.
Wow.
You can see her on YouTube. Also, we've had one with tumors, another one too, on the YouTube channel. But there is so much that we have to offer. I really think, quoting an old optometrist in Oregon, I believe his name was Dr. Tully Greenstein, back in the 70s when I was up there,
Mm-hmm.
this is really one of the best kept secrets
Oh, absolutely.
of
Yeah.
what's really happening with this. There is so much out there, and the cases.
But you do the background. You actually stay in current with the studies, and continue your reading and post education. So you use that information along with the old information to really make a practice.
I mean, really to consult and put
Yeah.
and if we don't know the answers, believe me, my father was a malpractice attorney, and the
Yeah.
number one reason for malpractice,
Mm.
one being stupid with the patient,
Yeah. Steve
and stupid meaning the way you talk to him, but also lack of referral to the appropriate source.
yeah.
I mean, I'm going to tell one more case, and then this one's interesting too. I had a patient after brain surgery, and she needed it. She started walking into walls
After brain surgery.
after brain surgery. The worst thing was the physician who did the surgery said she was malingering, saying faking it.
That's not good.
And she was depressed. She couldn't read. She couldn't drive. What happened was, apropos of the person who I just mentioned, they cut visual fibers going to the back of the brain
Yeah.
that dealt with both sides. So if this eye was covered, she could see everything over there and nothing over here.
So they cross
With this, nope. With this eye, she could see everything over there, nothing. In other words, she had no field on this side. So what do? Well, you can't restore the fibers that were cut.
Yeah.
Although with neuroplasticity, I'm not sure because some of it did come back.
Okay.
Neuro, which is a subject that I think is fantastic. The brain can
Figure out
readjust.
a
It's
way.
very dynamic. Anyway, we gave prisms, which basically shift the image up, down, left, and right, and we moved the world over, and she was good.
Give her that vision back.
Gave her
that
her
vision back.
function back. She
Yeah.
still had the blind
Vision
spot,
training.
but we not even vision training her. It's just the fact that we took the part that was, we centered her better, and she walked straight. She was I was part of a malpractice lawsuit describing this, and perhaps she shouldn't have prevailed, because the question is, did the doctor have to cut these fibers to save her life, whatever the surgery was?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. The reason she was mad, he never acknowledged that she had a problem. She just said she was malingering, faking it, get out of my office.
Yeah.
That's what malpractice lawsuits are made of.
You know, where it's in the person's head.
It really is.
Yeah.
People just want to be respected.
Huge.
That whole thing, I think Teddy Roosevelt said it. Nobody cares what you know until they know that you care.
Yeah.
And I think that's so big in my industry. It really is. And like I said, with corporate taking control of many practices, there was one big ophthalmological firm, I think, that was taken off. It really shocked me. And that's one thing, I have enough unique, and I better be doing this for the next 25 or 30 years, because and I better stay darn healthy at this.
That's the
because
plan.
I'm not taking on any
I'll
partners.
see you at the gym doing your videos.
Yep. That's another thing. We shoot our videos in the sauna with my homie hat on, and
Oh gosh. Well, the thing is, you have a heart of gold.
oh, thank
You
you.
live like you're 25 years old,
Oh,
and you're
I gotta show you.
smart as heck because you keep your brain active. You keep reading all the
And he's
time.
hanging out with the young
Yeah.
kids at E3.
I gotta
Yeah.
show you this, Tony. Let me see if I can get on here.
See what's this
Oh,
thing.
talk to Amy first.
Yeah, Amy, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
What details would you like to know?
Yes.
We were just at the chamber
Yes.
at Last Name Brewing.
Mhm.
I was going to come to that, but you know
yeah,
something?
I had a detour.
I went
I'm
home and I
wondering.
had to rest a little bit.
Maybe a live session.
And one thing with
Enjoy.
Amy, what she does, she is phenomenal what she does with home loans because she educates her patients. Like Dr. Bob.
Oh, she's
educate your
tremendous
people,
on that. She has a
build
partner that's
reputation,
really...
everything. You
Well,
know?
that's why we're sitting in this room together
Yeah.
because you are not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah, it's great that he does.
Let me just say, a
Yeah, go ahead.
13-year-old child who was 22
Degrees? Yeah.
degrees off
Uh-huh.
kilter.
Scoliosis.
There you go. Yes. And did not want to do anything that,
No.
that Dr. Tony told her.
Not
Literally,
very happy with
literally used to look at it and go,
it. Whatever.
Worked with him for
About
10 weeks, 12 weeks?
About 2.5
10 to 12
months, yeah.
weeks and completely put her in alignment to 0.
She was a better basketball player, had sharper elbows, knocking people out.
Just got back from China from playing
Nice.
basketball.
Good. Look at this.
Played
Wow.
basketball in China
What?
for 8 days and completely different. And recognizes now
Mm-hmm.
when she's out of alignment.
Mm.
Literally can feel herself when she's out of
And what
alignment.
does she do when she is?
She knows she's got to lay down, and there's
Yeah.
some things that she has to do,
Stretching,
some different
everything
poses
else.
and stretches.
Yep.
Super.
That she is her doc. She knows it's her Dr. Tony poses.
Yeah.
It's her Dr. Tony stretches.
Yeah.
There are things she has to do because he recognizes that kids, especially kids, and I can only talk from the kids'
Yeah.
perspective because I watch this weekly.
Yes.
He recognizes kids. They don't want to do their homework, let alone
Yeah.
have to listen to some other
Some old
doctor,
guy.
some
Yeah.
guy. Really, you're going to make me do this after I
Yeah.
just? They don't want to do it. So he completely structures a plan that's going to work with their schedule. He's going to do things that, hey, remember this stretch is something that you can do out on the track,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, and make sure that it's part of their lifestyle. And it really changes. So that's why we're linked here,
Oh,
because
that's what it
it's a
was.
whole package.
Yeah.
It's a whole package.
Well, a lot of it is too. When I back to me again, it's all about me. Is how do you, as a child, as an adult, incorporate your routine, stretches, exercise, whatever it is, to fix scoliosis, to fix your posture, to make your body stronger to handle the stressor every day. Can we do that? Yes. It just takes time and energy, not a lot, but enough every day to counter that stress that you've gone through every day. So net every day, you've stressed your body and recovered your body. So next day you feel better. Next day you feel better, and so on and so on.
And she knows one of the things that she said when she got off the plane, because after 8 days of
Yeah.
walking a lot, playing a lot of basketball,
China.
Great Wall,
Yeah.
went to the top,
Nice.
was in a lot of pain because of the stair climbing and playing basketball in between, et cetera, and then up the long flight. That was quite aligning.
Like, okay.
When she gets off the plane, she says, I have to do my Dr. Tony stretches, and if it doesn't work, I got to go see Dr. Tony. So she always knows that there's a package in the background. She can always come back
Open
whenever
door
she
policy.
needs him. So
Yeah.
that's, again,
Was she
going
born-
back to
was
Dr.
she born
Bob.
with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Board with
And
hereditary.
what? She's doing this.
Yeah.
You typical kid. So her neck is worse, and she's sitting in class all day long, and she's straining, because she went through vision training,
Yep.
and she's got the glasses, and she's a reader. She loves to read. So what do you
Awesome.
do when you read?
Yeah.
You're here. So if you're not on your phone, you're reading your book. He knows the whole package. He wants to know the lifestyle, literally what sports you in. This is what had her running in the hallway.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That was really fun. She's looking at him.
Videotaped that, yeah.
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 Why are you making me do these things? These two guys, this is what they do. He watched her running up and down the
She
hallway.
actually did it too. It was
She did.
entertaining and educational.
to make sure
Yeah.
that her knees were in proper
Your
alignment.
gait pattern.
To make
Yeah.
sure, and literally told her, stop wearing your inserts,
Yeah.
to help her, because he could see that where she was overcorrecting.
It was her fever
And-
coming in and out.
And you become, with the more you practice, a critical observer of just a little bit of nuances, head tilts,
Experience. Yeah.
experience,
Yes.
it, and also you're passionate in the love that you have.
Hope the show helps you understand that being a healthcare professional means you need to listen first and then help treat, either through chiropractic myself, Dr. Bob being optometrist, even with Amy of American Financial Network with her home loans, understanding some situation. Listening is always the key first to help anybody. All right. Again, the show notes has the links to our other podcasts, this full video, and also links to the actual podcast on iTunes. But realize your health is your health. Find people, optometrists, chiropractors, even Amy too, to help understand your situation, what you need help with. At that point, get the right care or the right loan. Have a great day.